been adopted. Can we do the pledge of allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Reverend McCarthy, please.
Yes, please join me in prayer. God our Father, Almighty, maker of heaven and earth, we thank you for the many blessings that we enjoy from your hand each day, and we praise your name this night. We thank you for these your servants who have gathered tonight, and we with them in love for our village, concern for its good. We pray that you would bless those who are serving you in civil office, that, Lord, they would have wisdom tonight in their deliberations, they would have grace in their discussions, that each decision that is made would be for the good of every person, every family, every organization in this village. And Lord, we pray that your Son would also use those decisions to advance his kingdom of grace and mercy throughout this village. For we pray in his worthy name. Amen.
Amen.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. All right, the first thing we'll do is the abstracts. I believe everybody's had a chance to look at them and ask questions. If there are no other questions, I'd like to have a motion.
I move we accept the abstracts as published.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Steve?
First on the hit list. The only problem is that means next month I'm last. Everybody has my report?
Yes, thank you.
I have some additions or embellishments, whatever we want to call them. I spoke with you last month about 50 Griswold Street and the excavating that has gone on there. There has not been any since. I was thinking yesterday was the deadline, but actually it's this Friday is the 4th is the deadline that I gave on the notice of violation. I haven't seen anything from them, and I don't expect to. If I do, great. If I don't, I have this packet of information ready to go to the courts.
And which court would that be?
So that would be the village court.
Okay.
I just want to make sure that the board is okay with me moving forward on that. I spoke with, I know we've had discussion about this in the past in terms of costs, and I spoke with our current sitting judge. She does not have a problem with me prosecuting my cases. If it gets too ugly, then we'll pull in the DA to finish whatever needs to be finished. So she's good with that, so I don't see a huge expense in terms of moving forward with tickets in the future. So
Thank you.
so long as you're good with that, I will move forward if I don't hear anything from them.
How quickly after Friday does something like that happen? If you know.
Probably Monday afternoon, if I
really?
can track them down, yes. I have everything ready to go,
Okay.
other than signing my name on the ticket, so.
And we really have to do something about this because, God forbid, that bank gives in. There could be a lot of people getting hurt, there could be damages all around, and if we're not diligent in doing what we should be done, they can come back to haunt us, so.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's, I studied the pictures a little bit more today. Of course, the black and whites, I mean, I'm not gonna bother showing you because the black and whites don't do justice, but looking at the color pictures, you've got a 6 or 7 foot cut into the toe of that bank, and all of that was in there, he pushed out into the floodway. So, in effect, you've moved that floodway somewhere, whether it's to the neighbor's yard or through his house or wherever, you've moved it from where it wants to
Isn't that
go.
sort of a double whammy, because isn't he, hurting the bank?
Oh, absolutely,
So
absolutely.
it's- yeah.
Probably the more immediate fear is the bank, because, a good solid thunderstorm that doesn't create a flood,
Yeah.
but could saturate that bank and cause that bank to collapse, and that wouldn't be pretty. You're talking the bank collapsing into the stream and clogging the stream, the bank collapsing enough that Shepherd Street or Park Street collapses, some sort of damage happening to the bridge because you've got a lot of debris in there now.
Yeah, your
there's
ticket, if something like that plays out, your ticket on Friday might be the least of the worries.
yeah, or the stream bank unzipping and the stream going through everybody's house on Lower Griswold.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
God forbid.
it, so obviously it needs to be addressed. So.
Okay.
You don't need a motion from us or anything?
At this point, it doesn't look like I'm going to spend any money, so I don't think so.
No, there's no motion.
Okay.
Okay.
We had given the okay in this last meeting when we had talked about it.
I'm just keeping you aware of what's going on. Second thing, I handed you a proposed resolution, and this is for the property on Water Street that we are looking at doing the floodplain reclamation on. And I want to say this carefully. It gets us CRS points, okay? But if we pass this resolution, basically the resolution is we're going to maintain the property as open space in perpetuity. We're not going to put any buildings on it, et cetera, et cetera. More to the point, it's important to protect that area of the village. If we're not sticking structures in the floodplain, like we just talked about with this over here, we're not moving the water elsewhere. We're not pushing it further out into Delaware Street, whatever the case may be. And I think it's extremely important that, we take these steps to protect the open space that we do have, so that we've got a place for floodwaters to go.
And this, I was gonna say, this doesn't do anything to interfere with what Ed has talked about, where they wanna, in effect, create a bigger stream bed.
No.
Okay.
As a matter of fact,
That's gonna help.
fifth whereas down, it says, site grading will occur on the parcel to both store and facilitate the
okay,
flow
right
of flood water back towards the river channel.
Yep.
And one of the key things, Steve and I talked about this, the insurable buildings. If we did sometime want to do something down there, you'd still have that option as long as it wasn't an insurable building
Yeah.
there. So it doesn't preclude us from.
Well, like Steve and I were like, we can always come back and change this, amend it, and do whatever we guys have. But for now,
right.
this is the best way to go.
And, the other piece of this is the impervious surfaces, you're not going down there and paving a parking lot because it looks like a good place to park cars. Kind of defeats the purpose of, creating that floodplain if you do that, so.
I'll make a motion, go ahead.
Good.
I'd make a motion and we pass the resolution. Does it have a number yet, Jody?
It's okay. I got it.
Pardon?
No.
I'll make a motion that we pass the resolution as presented by Steve.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you very much for that. What else did I have? Directly related, CRS, I believe I sent out an email to everybody just after the visit went. I just wanted to, put it out there publicly. Had the CRS visit, scoring visit on the 17th. That went very well. He said he's never left the CRS initial scoring visit with as much paperwork as he had.
Awesome.
I hate to say numbers. I'm confident that we're going to get to my goal. I'll put it that way. You guys know what my goal is. I'm confident we're going to get there. And doing stuff like we just did all heads towards that. So I'm in scramble mode right now. He's, as of last Friday, I got a official letter marking the date that I have 30 days to get any other paperwork back to him, so I'm feverishly working at that. To that end, I do need to ask to spend a little bit of money. One of the things that I've wanted to do, and I figure, now's a really good time to do it, I wanted to put some flood elevation signs throughout the village. And basically, because the '06 flood was our historic flood of record, and we have a really good idea of where those flood elevations were on various buildings downtown, various locations. I'd like to purchase probably half a dozen, and I'm thinking that I would even split that cost with the town, because I want to get some out in the township as well. I have spoken with an individual who has some signed blanks. They're about 12 by 18 aluminum blanks, just sheet aluminum, that he can put vinyl lettering on. I've designed what I want on there as far as an elevation mark and the verbiage that goes on there. Tried desperately to get a cost from him today, but he wasn't in his shop every time I stopped there, so $100.
What, sound like a great idea, but where do they go, and do we need permission to put them?
I have, in wanting to do this for a long time, I've spoken with numerous shop owners downtown.
I mean, for years after the flood, you'd walk around with
And
somebody.
you knew where it was,
and
yeah.
You knew, and it was always a point, you couldn't believe it. Yeah, it really
Right.
was here, here's the proof.
Yeah, I've talked to several shop owners. One of them that just comes to mind immediately is Brand House, right down here on the corner. They don't have a problem putting a sign up. I'd like it in a prominent enough area where somebody's walking down the sidewalk, they can see it, they can read it, they know what it is. Town doesn't know it yet, but one's going on a reporter property.
Is it just for informational purposes?
It's informational. It's an outreach project as part of CRS.
Okay.
It's making the public aware, keeping it. The longer you get away from a flood, the easier it is to forget about it.
Sure.
The more that we can do to keep it at least somewhat fresh in people's minds that it's important, that they need to take care of their own selves, their own property, et cetera, et cetera.
So what will the sign say on it?
It's essentially, I forget the date, June 27th, 2006, the flood elevation was at this height, on that date. And then there'll be basically a blue wavy line across there that will signify what that height was. So, it's nothing too wordy. May put the village website on there at the bottom as well, so that they can go to the village website and get more information if they want to.
I haven't been on the village's website in a while, but or how easy it is to add stuff, but if wherever they end up, like a photograph of each one, as long as you could tell behind, in the background, what was involved with water at that level, just for, to go to the village website and you can see where the flood was, and here's the signs to document it. I'm all in favor of, just as a liaison with the Pride Committee, and not seeing a picture, even if it costs a little more money, sorry, just that it be done really tastefully and professionally, and, other than with that stipulation, I'm all for it.
Are they going to be on posts or attached to the building?
It depends on the location.
Okay.
Some of them will be on buildings. Obviously, the reporter property will have to figure out telephone pole, I don't know, something. We'll figure out something that's going to stay there.
Right.
Put one there. Kind of like, I'm picturing, 3 in the village, kind of one on each end, one in the middle, kind of a thing.
Well, even at that stretch along, like the Chinese restaurant, that side of the street along there, because for the longest time, water lines were up, and also the road dips, Delaware Street dips quite a bit down through there, and it'd be all the more impressive to have one along in there somewhere on the south side of Delaware Street.
Right,
even.
yeah. So, like I said, I can't, I'm kind of guessing. Like I said, I tried to track the guy down. He's supposed to have a sample, because he has the vinyl that he can, do all of his design. He was supposed to have a sample for me and a price, and we just didn't link up
But
today.
$100 only gives you like $16 or $17 a sign. Is that going to be enough?
Yeah, well, like I said, I'll ask the town for 100 too.
We have some for 2. Oh, sorry, you're like,
Okay, 200.
Yeah. I did, you know, I mean, if
Yeah.
another, for something like this, it's gonna be there forever. If another 100 would allow you to get nicer lettering or more polished signage,
I'm with you.
Just say not to exceed.
okay, I'll make a motion that we approve Steve's request not to exceed $200 of village money.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
I think that's all I have.
Good.
Okay,
That
thank you,
costs us
Steve.
enough. but-
Yeah.
Thanks, Steve.
Chief?
Steve, what's the address on Midland Street?
Did I give it back to you?
Just took all one.
No, we don't have any.
That's what I mean, he just took it all.
Jody's giving us a wild.
Yeah, I
card,
saw that
saying,
look.
Don't ask.
I just saw that look, I'm not coming in, I ain't asking for nothing.
Good, good, you get it.
I'm used to that now. No, I can't say that because I've been very fortunate in that aspect since I came back, I have to say that. I guess one of the, we made a little bit of Steve's money back. No, actually, we made a lot of Steve's money back. We did get the Tough Book computers from the sheriff's department. So that's probably saved the village $7,500 at least.
That's nice.
7,500?
Yeah, at
Wow.
least. They're used, but I'm not proud.
Wasn't
But still
that for each one? Wasn't that much for one?
Yeah, yeah.
So you really,
No,
if
so
you got
it's
the two
actually-
cars,
Yeah.
it's 15.
Well, we actually had three of them,
All right, so that's almost $23,000.
that part.
Yeah. so
And then
that-
just to make that a little better, Dan St. Jack's has helped out considerably, and we needed mounting hardware for all the cars to secure them, and it's actually, it's a different computer system. And through some of his sources, he obtained all the mounting hardware for them.
Cool.
So that saved God only knows how much more. And we've also obtained, free of charge, 3 of the scanner heads that the guys use for scanning the licenses that are $400 a piece. So we've done pretty well.
Nice,
Now, are
thank
they
you.
installed and being used?
They're not installed yet. That'll be through KJBL, and
I was
that's,
gonna ask if you're happy with them.
yeah, we haven't actually, we're still, my office is beginning to look like a parts department. But that's okay. I'm not really upset about that at all. In regards to cars, the other car was striped. There's a little bit more to be done on that, but it's all bought and paid for. The gentleman's agreed to make what changes that we decided upon
Nice.
to free of charge, so he's taken care of that. So far, we've done well. We made it through the car cruise. It was kind of interesting. We came up short a couple officers, but we jockeyed and made it. And then one step bigger than that is we made it through the fair, which nobody got ran over on our side. We did have an accident with a young man. Fortunately, thank God, he's okay. The driver's okay because she was a wreck. But we made it through there pretty much unscathed.
I tell you what happens with not rumors, but when one person tells another. I'm standing next to the fence watching the tractor pull with Zach, and the guy is talking to me, and he said, "You hear about the accident?" I said, "No." He said, "Some guy ran over a little kid in the parking lot, and they airlifted him to Albany."
Yeah.
And that's-
Oh, thank God. No, it was on.
Oh, but fortunately, it was different.
Oh boy.
That was the one about the minnow came a whale, right?
Yeah, oh boy.
exactly.
But the stop sign definitely increased some hours on the rock for the guys. But honestly, not as much as I thought it was gonna.
Yeah.
We
thought
kinda
it'd
got
be
lucky.
Crazy, but
Yeah. So hopefully that's a pattern that'll continue. Last month, you guys let me get a new laptop and printer. We have it, and it's been in use like 5 or 6 times already, where we've taken it out of the office to go get statements.
And you got office put on there, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yep, I took care of that, yep.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Other things, Devin and Oliver are gonna be going to that course in Elmira.
Okay.
So they'll be going the 22nd, 23rd to that. That's of huge importance to us.
That was the investigative course?
Yeah, the interviews course.
Interview course.
Yeah, that's really, really important. It becomes vital every time, well, once a day. Every time I talk to somebody, actually, but once a day.
Yeah.
When are they going again?
22nd, 23rd. And the last thing that I have is probably the worst. Patrolman Gray is leaving us and going to Sydney. So, here we go again. But that's okay. We'll adjust to it like we always do. And start looking here.
You got his letter?
I do not have a letter, but we have a verbal.
Okay.
So that's following up.
Okay.
So it's pretty much a definite, unfortunately.
And so his last day of work will be when?
He
He hasn't told you that,
hasn't
really?
given me a formal, but it appears to be mid-September.
Okay.
So part-time guys, thank God for our part-time people. They're stepping up and taking it, and the ones that they're not taking, our full-time people are stepping up and taking.
Unless it's something for exec, which is fine. Is it just a good geographic or financial or personal or?
You know, he hasn't, one of the things, we do a debriefing as the officer leaves. He hasn't given me that yet, but there is a pay increase, and Sydney has an unbelievable retirement package that is very hard to compete. Very, very hard to compete with anybody. So hopefully they leave us alone now. Before I end up in jail for going to Sydney and to the sheriff's office. Yeah.
Well, if you could just get a letter from him.
Definitely will.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll give you guys the debriefing thing too. So, but that's it for me.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Alrighty.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Have a good night. Don't leave, by the way.
Right.
You gotta go in
I'll see him later.
executive session. Roger's not here tonight. And Bill Brown, please.
Hello.
Hey, Bill.
Again, how's everybody?
Good.
We have a couple things on our handout for tonight. We'll start with the biogas project, the digester. The CFA application went in last month. We continue on working on the design. We're planning to have soil borings conducted this next week to get a soil analysis, and that'll determine how thick our footings have to be for the tanks. The soil and water grant, we submitted an application last month, probably a few months before we hear on that.
How long, Bill?
A few months.
Really, that long?
Yeah, I believe they're, Soil and Water is trying to get co-funding for different projects, so it'll be a few months.
And if it's approved, is there like an anticipated start date on the work?
At best, 2016 project. Trying to, that would be the goal, would be to, if it was awarded, to, design it over the winter and into the spring and then
we
build
start,
it.
yeah.
Maybe after the fair wraps up, around this time of year, and be wrapped up by fall would be but it's all dictated on when funding becomes available, if and when funding becomes available, and what the hoops are for that, so. The Townsend Street, we mentioned last month, we met with Delaware County and New York State DOT representatives. This is in regards to this right now small slope failure that we have on Upper Townsend Street going out of town. We did get some letters back from DOT, and Cliff Crouch, I believe, sent us a letter. We've had some conversations with the county. There does not appear to be financial aid available to go towards remediating that slope failure. There may be some avenues for some possibly shared services or something like that. But it's the village's road, as we've been informed. It is a federal aid highway and a designated truck route, but unless there's specific federal highway designation or federal highway declared emergencies, there isn't funding available for that site. We're looking at other avenues, if there's an avenue through, with it being in the watershed, through Soil and Water, or DEP, or something like that. We're trying to identify that.
We got a meeting on Thursday, I'm gonna bring that up over there.
Worst
the
case
flood
scenario,
commission.
do we end up in a year, whenever, like a...
Worst case scenario, it caves in, we block it off.
No, I understand.
We have the money.
Do we bond for something? I mean, because you're not talking about $20,000. You're talking about a whole lot more than that.
It's if that were to be a catastrophic failure, it'd be a significant capital project.
Well, but even the fix prior
That's
to it
giving me a hard
going
time.
catastrophic is not inexpensive.
What I would hope we can do is come up with a short-term fix.
Yeah,
We'll call
it could
it
be one that wouldn't be very expensive.
a Band-Aid, if we want to call it that, to keep that small slope failure from becoming a big one and hopefully getting us through the winter, stabilizing the guide rails, stabilizing that slope as it is as best we can with hope, possibly just village forces buying materials, potentially some other local support, but trying to keep that in, the few $1,000s range versus the tens and hundreds of thousands of dollar range.
When Roger isn't here, he sends Bill in to cost us money.
Yeah.
Well, we talked to, Roger's been talking to the county about it. There may, Bill's gonna tell you we need to have a guy to come in and tell us exactly what we need, but when that's done, the county has equipment that could put piling in,
Right.
posts in for us. Roger has the trucks we can get rock. I mean, so we could do it relatively inexpensive, but we need to first make sure that'll be a good enough fix for now, right?
There's, with that, I mean, it's about 30 foot down to the stream. It's a steep slope. The road's there. It's obviously destabilized as it's eroded. We would like anyway to bring in someone with more expertise in this specific area. Someone we've worked with in the past his name is Greg Gifford. He has Gifford Engineering out of the Albany area. He's a geotechnical firm, soils. He actually has a PhD in geotechnical engineering. This is specifically what they do is geotechnical and slope stability, soil analysis, that type of thing. We would like to reach out to him and have him take a look at the site to help us identify a short-term fix with, a combination of posts and rock and fabric and gravel and something like that, as well as identify what we think the long-term fix would be, whether it's sheet piling or however that shakes out, but to get input from somebody in addition to just us in-house. So we would ask the village board to consider authorizing Gifford Engineering to come down to do a site visit for the not-to-exceed cost of $1,400, and then there'll be a small write-up that goes with that.
Let me ask you about that too.
Summarize
Because if this actually happened, it's going to affect the water lines and the sewer mains up there, correct? Because they're all running right there.
There's water, sewer, 2 water lines of sewer and a natural gas main, at least 1 natural gas main up through there.
So could we,
Yeah.
it's going to affect all 3.
And from my position, yeah. I mean, to have a shared cost between the funds.
So we can share it between the
If
3
that-
funds.
yeah.
Oh, that would,
Water, sewer, and our general fund, because
would be huge.
they're all running right there. And
Right,
if that
the water-
does-
the water
that
line's
goes, the
close
water
to
line
the-
is
yeah.
closer, and the sewer line, so
huge.
we can take from each fund to help us pay for that.
To spread it out.
And
Spread out.
whose gas line is that? Is that NICEAG's? So are we going to bring them in on it?
I can reach out to them. I wouldn't expect them to share the cost.
Yeah,
I can ask the
that's right.
question.
It's worth
but
asking.
Yeah.
I can reach out to our contact in Oneonta to say we have this slope failure. Your gas line is, and I think theirs is towards that side of the roadway, to see if there's any avenue for them to provide some financial and or other assistance.
Right.
Okay, that's a good
No
thought.
harm in
Yeah.
asking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that tomorrow.
Okay,
Thank you.
so I would need,
I'll make a motion that we authorize contracting with Gifford Engineering not to exceed $1,400 as spec'd out by Bill.
I'll second the motion.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you. The next, I guess, progressively bigger item on our agenda is the New York water grants. We talked last month about preparing an application to New York State EFC to look at replacing water lines throughout the village. We came up with a project scope to replace water mains on Union, Bruce, a portion of St. John and Burton, and Prospect Avenue going out of town toward Deposit, about 1,800 feet from the intersection of Delaware Street to the last, hydrant there, so it's about 1,800. Comes up with just under 7,000 feet of pipe. It's all 80-plus-year-old 4-inch cast iron that is more than likely and corroded on the inside and letting very little water through, so fire protection and water quality in those areas isn't aided by the quality of the pipe. The program is a 60% grant with a 40% local responsibility. The total project cost comes in at $1,722,077. There is a breakdown on the next sheet with a project budget with the different streets added up. We estimate based on a per foot length. We added funds in for repaving the streets after the fact. We would do a mill and pave similar to what we've done in other streets. Technical services with engineering as well as legal, bond counsel, administrative services add to the project or are part of the project cost, 10% contingency, and then EFC has us include a 3.5% administrative cost that they add on essentially to the project. So with all those added up, it comes up to the 1.7 million and change.
So that includes the paving and...
Yep, that would be, that's the turnkey project cost. You know, it's like I said, hopefully the final cost would be lower. The grant obviously would lower it, and if we could not utilize contingency, if there's potential to use CHIPS funds and or water reserves potentially to lower, you know, the long-term debt service the village would incur.
I'm sorry I didn't ask you this earlier, Bill. The contingency places we're required to set aside, if that's not used, what happens to that?
Then it goes back to the bank. I mean, we wouldn't utilize it.
So we wouldn't have to reimburse the six, that would come out of our 40% versus the 60%, or is it split?
Yeah, it would be split, because if your project cost, you know, if we're budgeting $1.7 million, you know, 60% is just over $1 million. So if we don't utilize that 10, then it becomes a $1.6 million. So we're, you know, our cost goes down and theirs goes down, right?
If we don't use it, comes out of
their money
the, comes
first.
out, right, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Or the try. Thanks, Bill. That makes sense.
So there's a few motions here to move forward with the process of the funding application. The first is to declare the project a Type 2 action under seeker, which is it's a minimal environmental review. With seeker, there's a Type 1, a Type 2, and an unlisted. A Type 2 action is generally a smaller impact project. You know, I know it's a $1 million project, but it's basically replacement of our existing utility lines. We're not going into an area that hasn't been disturbed before. We're working, you know, we're going to replace an existing pipe that's already serving the area. We're going to put a new one that's up to code with it in you know, the same general area. We're not going through an undisturbed forest that would, you know, have impact on, you know, vegetation and stuff like that. So based on the, you know, the seeker qualifications, it comes in under a Type 2. So we would ask the board to consider that. And there's an actual, the full resolution is two pages beyond that. And it basically just states that based on the project scope and the details of the seeker law under New York State, it's a Type 2 action. It requires no further environmental review.
I'll make a motion that we adopt the resolution and the first one of the three as spec'd out with the draft resolution bills presented.
I'll second the motion, but part of that, there might be a typo.
Yeah, there is a 4. I got to confirm that at the end.
So if you can amend your motion to approve the resolution pending clarification.
Yeah, confirmation on that. The section 617.4, I got to confirm that maybe 617.5, because up above it says 617.5 states this, and this,
Right.
and then whereas 6, so I think it's just a typo, but I got to confirm that.
Okay. So you're seconding it on, after
Yes.
okay. All in favor?
Aye.
You have to vote for it. No? Okay, okay.
The next item is the bond resolution. This is, if we pass this, it'll help our application. The bond resolution authorizes the village to incur debt associated with the project. It does not obligate you to incur debt. It allows us essentially to check one more box under the funding application that shows that we're closer to being ready to shovel in the ground, put the pipe in, spend their money kind of thing.
Need a motion for that then?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
The last one is to authorize the mayor to sign the actual application, which I'll bring over tomorrow or the next day, if we're good with that.
So I move that we authorize the mayor to sign the application.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you very much.
Thank you. Very much.
No John either.
Huh?
No John either.
No John either, no. Oh. Okay, we'll go on number 3 then, public input. Wow. With you right.
Great
Okay, trustee report, Teresa, we'll go with you.
I just have the final numbers for the recreation programs this summer. For the swimming lessons, first and second sessions combined, we had 377 students, which is really nice. Basketball had 62 students involved, tennis 25, and arts and crafts 165. So the programs were very successful over the summer, and I thank Brian and Roger. And that's all I have.
Okay. Charlie, you have anything?
Yes, I have 2 things. The Walton Theater Preservation Association would like the board to authorize them to pursue grant money for railings on the ramp going up to the theater. Basically, it just needs the board's authorization for them to go forward. So I'll make that as a motion, and then I'll move that the village board authorize the Walton Theater Preservation Association to seek grant money in support of the railing on the handicapped entrance to the theater.
Need a
Second.
second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
The second thing I have, and this is dollars and cents too, the WPTA, Walton Theater Preservation Association, would like to have the village reimburse them for up to $200 to buy paint and materials so they can repaint the fire escapes.
And that's enough?
If it isn't, then they'll start with one and finish that and move to the other. They feel it is, we specifically asked them. It'd be all volunteer labor.
Okay, that was gonna be my
It's
question.
volunteer labor. And their point is that if they're gonna get volunteers, let's not ask volunteers to, come paint, but bring your paint brushes. So I'll make that as a motion too. And I move that the village board authorize the reimbursement of the Walton Theater Preservation Association for up to $200 for paint and materials required to paint the theater fire escapes.
Second?
Yeah. Well, I'm just, we're running out of summer, I don't want them to have to go back and forth, but if they say 200 is enough, I guess 200, so I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
And that's all I have.
Just the Pride Committee met on the 27th. All the entrances to the village, the signs are up, the Walton Warriors on one side and 4-H on the other. They're phenomenal. They're bright, they're eye-catching, but extremely well done. To the point where there's a 4-H individual from South Courtright who is now looking to do the same kind of a project for South Courtright. It went over well enough with some of the people that 4-H'er knows. They kicked around some ideas for the upcoming projects, some building cleanup ideas, looking at the possibility of putting some banners up on poles on Bridge Street or Main Street, those like 1.5 by 3 feet banners, and how to do it and whether to do it and funding, those sorts of things. And the only other thing of significance is that in the meeting schedule, it's the second and fourth Thursday at 6:30. The planning board meets here on the second Thursday, so they're going to come up with a different night or a different schedule. I think they're probably going to just change the location of the second Thursday meeting. So it'll still be the second and fourth Thursdays at 6:30. The second of the second Thursday of the month, location will be determined. The fourth Thursday of the month will still be here. And then for January, February, and March, because of the winter months, they're probably meeting just once a month. And that was really it. So I watch Facebook and meetings here to know when, or the location of the first meeting of the month. They figure that out.
Okay, thank you. Excuse me. Number 6, Section 8 program.
You didn't have anything?
Huh?
You didn't have?
Oh, no, I don't have anything.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll move through it. You want to talk about that, or?
I'm just a little behind here.
Oh, okay.
You surprised me when you didn't have anything to
See,
say.
it happened.
Keep you on your toes.
Yeah?
Doesn't happen often, right?
Yeah, no, it doesn't, you're right.
Delaware Opportunities has updated their administrative plan for the rental assistance program that we work with them. And they've submitted that. I forwarded it out to the board. Did anybody have questions that maybe I can answer? If not, we need a motion to accept the resolution that I forwarded you to accept the new administrative plan. Basically, it just changed the wording to what the state updated theirs.
Yeah,
So
just update, yeah.
they update, just use the same language.
Make that motion.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Carried.
I was unaware that we supported the other towns as well, but it's a good program. I hope folks can use it.
Okay, number 8, standard workday resolution.
Did you want to do your,
Oh, I went past it, right, I'm sorry. Number 7, the bond resolution for the screw press. I apologize.
unless you change your mind?
No. We had discussed this at prior meetings. This is to get the $260,000 into the screw press account. This is the,
We submitted the bond resolution
Yeah.
for you guys, so
You just need a motion.
Yep.
we do.
Yep.
Make that motion.
Will is this the actual thing? Because then we'll have
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds is absent today.
Yep, I'll
Right.
fill all that in, but that was
Yep.
just a copy.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Now number 8, standard workday resolution.
Once a year, we have to submit to the New York State Retirement System the standard workday and reporting resolutions for the elected and appointed officials who participate in the retirement system. So I forward you a copy of the people that we have appointed and one elected. And if y'all are in agreement with this, I just need you to motion to approve it.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We'll go past that, right?
Now you can do that.
Number 9. I'll read that later.
Yep.
The whom may concern the football, parents and I are seeking permission to hang up football signs in the village for the 215 varsity football team. We would be hanging the signs up around the weekend of August 15. We will be taking down the signs when the season comes to an end. We appreciate your cooperation in this matter and thank you for your support. And as in previous years, thank you, Ruth Matthews.
Didn't we didn't do this at our special meeting?
We did the field hockey.
The field
Oh, okay.
hockey unit.
Okay. I'll make the motion.
Need a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 10, waiver of the 30-day notification for the Penguin.
And this is just a turnover of
For-
owner, yeah?
Yes,
For wine and beer, right?
Right.
only.
Only.
So it's just a 30-day waiver, so they don't have to wait before their liquor
I'll
license.
make that motion.
Need a second?
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
How do they find out that we approved it? Just-
I have to. write
Jody's
that.
she's gonna run some of the letter.
Is this person local? The person who applied?
It's one of the owners. I think there's 2 people.
Franklin? One from Franklin, right? One of
Is that
them
where
from
they're from?
Franklin. I think one is, I don't know if the other one
Because
is.
there's a family with that name in Walton, I
Yes.
just wondered,
Yeah, she's
part of that
belonged to
family?
that family, yes.
Yeah.
Good, very good.
Okay, we need to go into executive session. We will be doing police personnel.
I move we go into executive session.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Thank you everyone for coming.
I don't know if you want one of those.